Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Love Storyteller Tarot. My name is Jeanette and this is going to be your love stroke spiritual reading for this new moon, total solar eclipse in Cancer, July 2nd, 2019. So, as you know, these eclipse seasons by now last for about 6 months. Well, they do last for 6 months. So, but this one, normally, this one, according to some of the astrologers, this one's going to last a little bit longer. And apparently you can look back because of being in Cancer, because we seem to have some sort of dance going on between Cancer and Capricorn, which is the opposite sign, last year, and then going back to 2009. And a lot of Capricorn energy. So, you know, you've got to look at the elements. So you've got your water in Cancer and you've got your earth in Capricorn, you know, and the earth needs rain, water to flourish, to grow. But, you know, we're here in England, the rain has just been tremendous for the last week, I think, last 7 days, and it's just been coming down and coming down and coming down. So for me, that's a sense something needs to be energized. Well, negativity needs to clear at a ground level, and so that the good chi energy can come up and nourish. It just feels like something needs to be cleansed. But if you have too much rain, the ground can start to get soggy. You get floods, and you can look at it symbolically, like, you know, the moon is all about your emotions. So if you're too emotional, then that's not going to work in your relationships. And then, but if you're too laid back and not in touch with your feelings, then that's going to affect your relationships. It's all about finding that balance. And I think that full moon in Sag, I can't remember now the readings, I think that was about diplomacy, wasn't it, and finding balance. So, but yeah, you know, you can get bogged down, it becomes all squashy, and you can stagnate in waters that can't clear because there's a blockage. I've been doing qigong, and it's very interesting when you listen to what the teacher's saying and how you know, the chi can get blocked, and how that affects. Well, I've been doing complementary therapy since 1998, but you know, how it can get blocked, and we need trees and, you know, good chi energy. But that would just take me down maybe a political road. I don't know if it's political, but about this 5G, and, you know, I've seen like the trees being knocked down because apparently this 5G can't travel very well. So, and they're having to put them on lampposts and everything. This 5G is really bad for the health, and they're knocking down trees. And luckily, this lady, who my teacher, you know, she doesn't any donations or what she charges, she puts to the trees, and to get new trees and better trees back up again. So, you know, because without your breath, you're not here, are you? So maybe symbolically look at that with your relationships. Maybe take a breath and see where you are, really, because what you put in motion around this new moon, because remember, a new moon is about, you know, planting seeds, and then you see it grow, or the cycle within that cycle you do. But this is going to be lasting until the next eclipses, and this is all about a foundation, and you don't want too much water, and you know, you can't build on that foundation. So it's all about what foundation you're going to be laying for the next 6 months. But it all seemed, you know, very positive. Like eclipses are major shifts, and this is a solar eclipse, so that's more that masculine energy, and it creates a shift, and it'll be creating a shift in your Cancerian home, so wherever it sits for you, really. I think mine's in my 11th house, I think it is, which is friendships and community and things like that. So there's going to be a major shift in that area for me. But personally, you know, it will be family. It relates to family and your home and anything domestic, anything like that. So there will be things going to be changing around that. When I was shuffling, I heard, let me get this right, I heard terms and conditions regarding your love life. So it said read the small print regarding your relationships. So that just came out. And then they referred back to my daughter and I just booked a holiday, because I haven't had one since 2012. So there you go, that cycle is going, even that cycle's going back to then, because you can look between 2009 2012. So that cycle is going back to then, and I haven't been abroad since then. And I've been very fearful over the last 3 weeks. I don't know why, but these thoughts and everything. So I've had to, you know, take a bit of time out and work through all that. It's not very nice. But yeah, and you know, luckily she read the terms and conditions of this booking, and because we hadn't been away for a while, well, she had, but under different circumstances. But and it said, you know, you have to pay these taxes now in Europe, and we're going to Italy. So that's new to me, and I thought, where the hell has that come from? And then if you get into the politics of it all, we don't charge over here for things like that, so which then makes me angry. None of our museums or anything. So I thought, no, you know, we need to start doing that, put some more blimmin' healthy boundaries in. So, but yes, we've got to pay. But if she hadn't have read the terms and conditions, then she would never have seen that. And I think what Spirit's saying regarding your love lives, because remember this cycle is for 6 months, and for some reason I brought out the two birds, the two lovebirds or two doves. It's harmony and peace, you know, because that's what you want in your relationships. But so you've got to either read the terms and conditions, you know, because you like I said before, those that have watched me for a long time, you have to be on the same page, because if you're not on the same page, and that page can change, one of you might read the whole chapter quicker than the other one, and you might get somewhere before the other one, you know, which brings me back to, so I must remember terms and conditions where I was. I asked, you know, where will the masculine energy be, self-esteem, self-worth level for around this new moon and solar eclipse, and for the next six months. And the masculine is number 5, which is on a consciousness level, they will be at a point where, you know, if you can imagine a bridge, and on the one side you've got your ego, on the other side you've got your soul. Your soul is, you know, pure and knows the difference between right and wrong and that sort of thing. Then you've got the ego, which is, you know, patterns of behaviour that you've been taught, that, you know, you've survived from childhood, etc. So they're going to be on this bridge, and they're obviously awakening. The masculine is, more and more masculine are awakening, and they're going to be start to come over the bridge. This is what number 5 means. It's going to start to come over the bridge, and where they've been Prince Charming, where, you know, they've learnt your Achilles heel, how to press your buttons, that sort of thing, because it's about manipulating, because that's what the child had to do to survive. You know, they thought, right, I need to behave this way to get this result, etc. And you don't need to do that anymore in relationships. You know, it's about maturity, about growing up and acting in an adult, mature way. But so they're leaving that now, and they're starting to come over this bridge to meet you, and you're not to go right over to the bridge. You're to meet halfway also. But they're a number 5. You've come up, you know, the females come up, feminines come up as a number 6. So what that's saying to me is that you've got to, you know, something like you've got to be the better person. You've got a higher consciousness. You see things differently. You know, the masculine is learning, and with what comes with learning is, that's what an apprentice is. You're learning. You're going to make mistakes. So it's a bit like saying, so for the next 6 months, they're going to be making mistakes. Don't have high expectations. Your job is to remain centered in yourself and withdraw when you need to, and work on yourself and not project anything onto this person, whether this is your partner now, whether this is your potential partner, whatever the situation is. So there's going to be days or moments where you see that they're being more conscious and have learned something and coming over the bridge, and you're meeting them halfway, and then something's going to happen. They're going to be triggered, and then they end up going back the other way. They won't fully come across this bridge yet. Well, within the 6 months, that's what they're going to be working on. So, and it will be more for the feminine to you know, show through your own actions how they could choose to behave, instead of reacting all the time, you know, responding. So you don't react, you respond. And it's not to be a doormat, but it's to keep your heart open, you know, because theirs is just opening. You know what it's like when your heart's just opening when you've been hurt. It's very fragile, and you know that the masculine isn't as confident as they make out. They're not, and but you're not going to put your vulnerability on the line to the point where, you know, you're going to get crushed. You're going to have an open heart, but you're going to, you know, take the armor of your heart off with discernment and see what's right for you. So that whether that's just dating, whether that, you know, don't take it personally in that sense. You've triggered them. It doesn't mean to say that you have to censor yourself and watch yourself in that sense. You've got to be true to yourself. You've got to be speaking your own truth. So I feel that's what the energy is. You've already crossed that bridge. You're a number 6, so you're into your soul here. You're more into your soul, and you don't want to be going back over to the bridge to number 5. So it's this balance, and this is saying, you know, it's not about being a doormat, but you are more conscious than the masculine energy. The feminine will be around this time and during this 6-month cycle. Then you bring it back into the Cancerian energy. So it's going to be around your home, your friendships, your love life, and that sort of thing. But yeah, so which is where the terms and conditions come in, I think, where it's saying, because they might have terms and conditions, and it doesn't mean to say you can't have terms and condition. You know, being unconditional love is having compassion for someone, but stating your needs. So there has to be some form of terms and conditions, not to the point where, you know, you can't show unconditional love, but as to where it is you are and what you need, because it's about being on the same page. It's not about labelling what the relationship is, etc. It's about having the experience and being in the moment. Because I know, you know, when I first came out, it was all about twin flames and everything. Then I had my opinion about what I thought that was, because I really don't think that the universe would bring two people together for people to be bolting all the time. That's people who are wounded and triggered. You know, I think it had been romanticized and that, and of course I said what I needed to say, and some people didn't like that, and that's okay. But you have to be true to yourself. You know, it's observation, it's watching. But yeah, they saying watch your terms and conditions, or you may need to put some terms and conditions in. You know, depending. Every relationship is different. But what dropped out when I was shuffling the cards ready was the 5 of coins. Now the coins are that earth element of your, it's about your physical life. So this is because it's Cancer, it's around the family, your home. This can be a lack because it's 5, it's restrictions. Because you want to break out, you know, but you can get the 5 because if you go backwards to the 4, it's about holding on. But sometimes you have to save money for something. You know, not everybody can get credit, not everybody wants credit. They want to do it the other way and save for a new home, because this is about a home. So this could represent needing to save. You know, you have to work and save those pennies. For some it doesn't come easy, for others, you know, I don't believe to an extent, you know, about this manifestation thing and law of attraction, that, you know, if you can't manifest it, then it makes you, you know, feel like you're no good at it or whatever. No, I believe in soul contracts, and I believe you work with your own awakening and your own consciousness to the extent you get to where you need to get to when you get there. And I think comparing yourself, a bit like the Joneses, isn't it? We're talking about the home here, we're talking about Cancerians, you know, because they're very much homely bodies, and you know, they well, stereotyping that comes under the hoarder, you know, very holds on to things, very sensitive, and you know, likes to hold on to things, sentimental values, doesn't like to let go of things, and that is that 4. So that can be emotionally, or it can be physically, financially, because it's very much about a lack, or it can be that, you know, you feel like you don't belong somewhere, because it's about home. So it feels like you don't belong somewhere. So you might feel like you don't belong in this relationship, or you can't find a relationship where you feel loved and cherished and where you belong. But they're like saying, you know, don't give up hope, because we've got the snowdrop here. There is growth here, and the snow is cold. You know, it feels like you're cold or wounded or isolated in some point. It just reminded me of it was some sort of debate I was listening to, yeah, and but this person, this cricketer, I can't remember his name, but you know, obviously went through a mental health issue, and he said, you know, isolation is the bacteria to depression, and that really resonated with me. You know, I have to fight because I'm an introvert. I have to fight, and because I'm naturally introverted, so I go within a lot because of writing and things like that. But I have to force myself, in a sense, to go out, to mingle, to mix every day, and you know, make that effort, because isolation, that it is like a bacteria, and it can steal things away from you. Hence, when I notice, it's all about, you know, self-awareness and knowing yourself, because it will affect your relationships, you know. But yeah, this one jumped out. So how it's going to fit into the reading, I don't know. But you've got to watch your thoughts, because this is very much about a lack. thinking a lack of, things don't grow on trees. It's all these sort of sayings and beliefs that need to be picked out, because this is a tree. My daughter and I was walking in a little village, and it was a street fair the weekend, and this father said to the child, well, money doesn't grow on trees, and I said to my daughter, look, that's it, that's where it all comes from, because it's repeated down from generation to generation, and you just don't know what damage you're doing when we say things like that. And I can't remember what my daughter said, but she came up with something really brilliant, and she said, well, they could have looked at it like this. He could have said this too. Well, you have £1 left. What would you like to do with that? Rather than, but it takes practice. It takes consciousness to do that. So maybe look at, if you're in your families, if you're married and you've got a family, you've got children, and maybe look at where you might be saying things like that, or your partner might be saying things like that, because this is about poverty consciousness. And I know I certainly grew up with that, and I'm having to fight with that every single day, and the lack of money and everything, and not blaming myself or putting myself down, or comparing myself, because that would just send you into a spiral, and just your self-worth will be like crap. And know that there's another way, or it could be on an emotional level, and feeling that you don't belong in that sense. But that's the card that jumped out whilst I was. But let's see what the dynamics of the relationship might be around this time, around for this total solar eclipse, because this means this is eclipsing something. It's getting rid of something totally out of your life, around family, around your home. And that can be patterns, like I said, maybe thought patterns, or this energy of not having enough, and that's going to change. That's going to change once and for all. Expectations. Now that's going back to what I said here, is what I thought when I was talking about the 5, the masculine's coming up as the 5, the feminine's coming up as the 6, and it's about meeting halfway, and not to have high expectations, because know that this is going to happen. It's going to be the push and the pull, because when somebody's waking up, they become more sensitive, and then they're going to be triggered more regarding their past. So it might appear like a ping pong ball, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, but don't think that things are over. I think that's the mistake, is when you think something's over, and you close your heart to protect yourself, and then then it shuts off that energy. So because this is there we go, I've just noticed. I don't know if you can see it, I'm sure you can. This is a number 5 also, so this is to do with the masculine, because it's a number 5 as well. Whatever I was saying then, or whatever I was saying at the beginning around expectations, don't have those expectations. You are the more aware person, because then you're going to go into the victim mode, and you don't want to go into the victim mode, or the oh poor me, of repeating patterns and thinking what the outcome's going to be, because then the outcome is going to be that, because you're thinking that, because of the 5 again. We've got 5 again here, so we've got 3 lots of 5s here. So this is what it's all linked to, and that can be material, that can be financial. to do. Don't have any expectations that way either. But 5, the lack, you know, even the saying of all the good ones are gone. This is lack talking. This is not having faith, losing hope, especially if you've been single for a long time. That sort of thing. I hear it myself. Well, all the good ones are taken, and things like that. And you mustn't believe those things, because it's not true. It's not true. Remember the Sag, that full moon on the 17th is all about truth and truth seeking. But yeah, 5 seems to be playing its part in this reading, as to why that dropped out. But yeah, so you're going to have to be looking around expectations, because you know, you move from one thing to another. You that's where disappointment comes, is what they're saying. When you have an expectation that, I don't know, so say you're single and you meet somebody new comes in, and you're straight away you're seeing the wedding dress or whatever, or you know, same-sex couple, whatever it is. You're going down that, you're going down that path, because I met this one guy and went for a coffee, which was lovely, but he's literally jumping from a coffee to a spa weekend, and I'm like, no. I thought, what's wrong with getting to know somebody? I said, you've literally jumped, and that put me off. I said no. So because, you know, he had an expectation, but it's for the feminine to guide what's going on, not the masculine. And don't have high expectations over the next 6 months, because you'll be disappointed. And if you attach to outcomes, you'll be disappointed, because it's saying it's like your spirit or the universe is going to bring opportunities for you to get in tune with you and your needs and desires, and maybe some wounds too. But you know, so these people are going to be coming in, or if you're already in a relationship, maybe drop the expectations, and then that might revive the relationship. But yeah, let's have a look, see what the solution is for this expectation. There's not many of these cards, so I'm just going to pick the 3rd one. Do you know what? I was just about to say, but I didn't. I'd laugh if it was the bridge, because of what we were saying. Because the healing for this is joining, and there you can see on there is the bridge, which is the same as here, bridging relationship. You know, going from Prince Charming to Prince Charisma, and that's what the masculine's learning to do. They're learning. You've got to be. It's not to put up with shit, because you're not going to put up with shit. You're not going to put up with crap. You're not going to do that. But it's like being a good parent, isn't it? But then you don't want to get into the mother or the father role, because then your love life's going to be shit anyway. But you've got to be really wise. You've got to be really wise. And the healing is about joining. So if there has been any separation, the suggestion around this time is that, but you need to meet halfway. And I think the clues here, so that you can navigate your relationships over the next 6 months, is that the feminine is more the awakened one. So if you're in same-sex couples, it's whoever's playing the feminine role is going to be the one that's guiding the masculine energy. because there you go, whatever I said about bridging that. But there you go, there's confirmation, there's the bridge. This is the divine's hand, you can see the thumb here, and holding it up, so you will get the support you need from your own guides, your own angels, from the universe. And you can see here arms outstretched, which represents an open heart, being open to receiving what, you know, sometimes we don't want to hear, especially if these might be somebody returning, don't have that expectation. It is hard to have an open heart and open your arms to this person, but it, you know, it's, and that can be even if you've been separated in your relationship but still living in the same home. We're going back to Cancer, which is about home life. So, you know, a lot of people, they live together, but it's a living arrangement. It's not a relationship because it's broken down. So it could be that, you know, you're still living in the same home, but because of financial reasons, which could be that, you can't leave the home. You know, things aren't black and white. There's always grey. And sometimes you have to do what's right for the children and not for yourself, and until a later date, or you have to be working on saving money for a departure in the safest possible way. If it's just you, it's a different story, but usually there's finances concerned, and you know, and there may be a lack of it, and leaving a marriage or leaving a long-term relationship may be very costly, and there might have been some form of separation, but the key is to join and come together. But it looks like the feminine's gonna need to be the one who may have to make that move, and meet this person halfway, because it looks like they're ready, they're just not experienced, they just don't know. You know, the Cancerian is like the emotional, it's the moon, it's the solar eclipse, which is the masculine energy. I don't know which way around it is, but it's like eclipsing, it's going over the moon, I think it is. Don't quote me on it, but so, you know, it's covering up, but it's eclipsing something out of your life, which could be that pattern that I was saying, or having a too higher expectation. People are human. What's that song? I'm only human. You know, basically, if you cut me, I'll bleed. And when people have expectations and they put people on a pedestal, like one person did with me, or I allowed that, who knows? But anyway, it's 50-50, isn't it? But as they see you, they have their own perceptions, and because if you're closed off and you're not giving people information, or they're not giving you information, then you start to have a perception about somebody, and maybe not the facts about somebody. So maybe that's where they're saying read the terms and conditions of a relationship, or, you know, entering into a relationship or ending a relationship. Maybe there needs to be terms and conditions there. But yeah, so you might have high expectations and put somebody on a pedestal, and then when you realise if you say something that hurts, or do something that hurts, you realise that if you cut them, they'll bleed. So very much about joining and coming together and sharing your feelings is what they're offering around this time, and you will be supported around that, because there's a thumb there, there's a hand there holding this up, and that all seems to work together. And I think the gift, well, let's see what the gift of grace you get if you can both work through this, because you're working through some sort of power struggle, and it's whether you can get through that, is that you can get to long term. But this is something about a foundation that's long term, is what you're working towards. And then, well, you get the gift. It's a gift of giftedness, and she's literally bending down to pick this key up because it's on the other side of the wall. You know, where you tap into all your gifts, and your life becomes better because you're using that gifts, and those gifts can be anything from you're a good listener but you're blocked off from that, or you know, you might be talented at something, and your partner, etc., and then you come together, and then the higher purpose of coming together, the joining, is for a higher purpose to do with, you know, the consciousness of the collective, and you've got gifts that you can give to the world, but maybe those gifts are blocked, which the 5 suggests, because either you've got to work something out with somebody, so maybe there's still a karma energy, but there's the key is, out of all of it, you've got to join, you've got to communicate. Joining is necessary, is what they're saying. Let's go into the tarot cards. And maybe that's where that terms and conditions came through strongly. Let's see what the tarot cards want to say. Remember, this cycle is for 6 months. You know, you can keep this video and you can keep referring back to it. And please share it to those who you think, you know, would benefit from it. So we've got the Knight of Cups, which is this energy coming in. Now this, you know, he's upright and he's not the king. He's not, he doesn't know everything, but his heart's open. So this represents this really. He's willing, or the masculine energy, but it can be feminine as well, is willing and wanting innocently to offer a cup, to offer love, because this is, you know, Prince Charisma upright, he's Prince Charming in reverse, where they know your Achilles heel and they work on you and they manipulate the situation because they know you and they know your triggers and what will get a reaction from you. But he's got his cup, and you know, is coming in to offer, definitely over the next 6 months, offer some sort of proposition in some shape or form, but he has to go across this river, this meandering river, and there's the home. We're talking about Cancer. There's the castle, the home there, but he's, you know, he might have armor on, but he's got nothing on his face, so he's showing who he is. And that does come under the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio. Do you know what? My mind is terrible. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And this is going into the Emperor energy. So he might, this could be somebody who, I think it comes at that Aries energy, that I am energy, that it's all about me energy, but we've got children here, you know, and that softens him, and it's about the home. And this is like a strong partner, a strong husband or partner, or strong masculine energy, but there is a sensitive side to the masculine because of the Knight of Cups there. But you know that he's reflecting, and children and family and home is important to him, and that shows up as a father. You know, the Emperor is the father, Earth father figure, so a very strong masculine energy, and that can be hard to work with sometimes for themselves, because they have to become vulnerable, but remember that they're just waking up around this cycle. It would be interesting to see what the lunar cycle says, but we'll just lay these cards more quickly because we've gone into a lot of it there. But yeah, so we've got a Knight again. We've got four, like the major arcana, and then we've got the court cards there. So we've got the Knight of Pentacles, which is somebody that, you know, works hard, takes step by step and plods on and just gets the job done. And that would be your earth sign. Remember I was saying earlier, so your Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, so you've got your water and your earth, which is what I was saying about. And what's in between is this Emperor, because you need a balance of the two. You don't want to be like all fantasy and romance and you know, being wiped up off your feet and, you know, by this person, or you to somebody else. You don't want to be doing that to somebody else and being in fantasy land. But and then you've got the Knight, but he can be quite slow in coming forward. So it's about having the balance, because you've got your water and your earth, and like I said, you don't want to be getting bogged down. But he could do that, as in if he's still too stern, but this is a very strong partner. Six of Swords is all about moving away from something, but maybe they haven't yet, because you don't know if this is a potential partner and what's going on. You don't know what's happened to them, but this is needing to move, make a move, go on a journey. This is, but it's in reverse, which is maybe somebody in and ahhing. We've got the Queen of Pentacles, which is all about, you know, being very grounded, practical, doing practical things, and to get the job done, being very much in your home. And you know, she's like Superwoman. She does everything, and maybe that would be a good match with this Emperor energy. So maybe there's going to be a lot of Cancerians and Capricorn, earth sign, maybe Cancer and Capricorn, but you've got the fire in between, because you've got the Capricorn in the middle, and there's that 4 I was talking about before the 5. So maybe this, you need to work on this so you don't get to this. I don't know how it will play out for you over the next 6 months, but yeah, this is, like I said, for some it would be a case of saving. You need to, for if you're thinking about, you know, ending a relationship, then you'd need to. But it looks like the masculine is waking up, and this is like holding on, either emotionally or to finances, holding on tightly, and you know, taking it step by step. Not rushing things, because if do the opposite, if you have rushed in the Knight of Cups, if you have rushed into relationships, then do the opposite and do the Knight and just take it bit by bit. Or maybe if you've been the Knight, the more plodding and step by step one, then maybe you need to be the other way and come into the emotions of it. But we've got the Hangman up here reversed. For me though, it's like he's standing up, and you know, the light bulb moment has come. That's how I see that card. There's a light bulb moment, there's an aha moment, there's a enlightened moment, because this is all around sacrifice. Where have you had to sacrifice maybe yourself or your integrity to do with relation, because there's lots of grey areas with relationships, you know, not to label them, because there's people that are in polygamy, or whatever they call it, relationships. There's no wrong or right. It's all it is about being on the same page. And if you've got people that are on the same page, then that's all that matters. You get the complications and the disappointments from the expectations that bring the pain. But there's some sort of joining that needs to happen around this time, and it's to do, you've got to bring in, for some of you maybe you need to bring in tradition. I don't know. This is very much the traditional card, and Hierophant is something that, you know, people tend to go to if it's a traditional marriage, etc., in the church and getting married. Not that a lot of people do that so much nowadays, but it's all about the yin and the yang. We've got the moon and the sun down here, the keys to the kingdom, or the keys to your knowledge, is the balance of the two, is the yin and the yang, and the masculine and feminine energy within oneself. But it's interesting that you've got the Hangman there, which is all about pausing, not struggling, and going with the flow, so to speak. But it's also about sacrificing something of lesser value for something of higher value to you, whatever that means. Remember the terms and conditions. But she's in between the Emperor, which is the father of the, represents the father of the earth, and the High Priest, which is the father of the skies. And the Queen of Pentacles is who sits at the heart of the matter. So she's the one that has the power to change things, because you've got the Star here, which is the outcome, which is a fresh beginning, new hope, a fresh beginning, healing. Very much healing. I want to see, pull a few cards out. What's going on underneath is the Knight of Wands. So you've got, all we've got missing is the Knight of Swords, but he is in reverse. So for some of you, this energy is a flash in the pan. This energy shows up as a one-night stand. It's fire, it's passion, so it can be sexual, or it can be things that are stagnant. So it just depends. But let's get I talk so much I end up running out of time, because I don't like to go over an hour. But let's have a look quickly at the futuristic cards. Yeah, so something to do with this, because it's the snake. The snake is about something being shed, because they shed their skins. We're talking about a solar eclipse here. Maybe that energy is going to be, you know, where you're more practical in your relationships and not so much from the romantic side of it. But this is about using your wisdom also. It can also sometimes suggest, you know, speech is silver, but silence is golden. As to how that's going to play out for you, I don't know. At the end of the day, like I say, trust your own intuition, because you are the only one that knows everything that goes on in your life. And you know, this is to trigger things, your subconscious, and bring it to the consciousness, and then you can work with that. But this is the man's come up on the Queen of Pentacles, so there's somebody very important to her, and she's Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, Sun, Moon or Rising. But there's somebody very important to her, so I think we need to get some cards out on that one, as to whether this is showing up more negative or positive. But there's a social place, a social gathering, a meeting place, to do with this. You're going to hear something, because this is like a contract of some kind, news of some kind, over the next 6 months. And it's all around security, or to do with security, stability from the past. And maybe that sort of energy hasn't got you that in a relationship, and like I was saying earlier, then you're stuck because of finances. And remember, we've got 3 lots of 5s in here, so maybe look at the number 5 and what that means for you. But we do have the abundance card on this 4, so that could suggest over the next 6 months, you know, put your head down. That's to do with the contract. That could be to do with work or your partner's work. You know, it's about home. So whether you're working towards getting your own home, if you're renting, that sort of thing, because you're laying foundations down. So that it could come up as positive, you see, because you've got the tree on the top of there. And we've got a tree here, but this is the tree of abundance. But you have to lay the foundations. You have to do the hard work, like I said. So some soul contracts, it doesn't come easy. You have to do the flipping hard work. You're not going to win the lottery. You're not going to, you know, and don't compare yourself or blame yourself if you're not able to manifest, like, you know, your next door neighbour or whatever. But this is regarding a relationship. So there seems to be some sort of light bulb moment regarding a relationship. But it's saying a relationship, it's not pointing out, but you can be secure in that relationship, is what they're suggesting. You've got to use your wisdom, and there's movement around this, because this card represents marriage, and this is a strong partner, a strong marriage partner or a strong partner, and there seems to be some sort of movement regarding this couple or these 2 people that are meant to be together. But this news is good news, because this is news coming in, and it's good news because it's on the star. It's a wish, something that you've wanted for yourself, and there you go. The overall message is the house. So it's, and we've got the Cancerian, so it's around the home. All this is to do with the home, and this card on its own is around a change of residency, and that can be to do with work. You know, you break it down, it could be to do with work, it could be to do with a relationship breakup or meeting somebody, and that could then mean a delay. We do have a Mercury retrograde. Sorry, I did mean to check it, but I will check it for the next video. Or I might just do a video on the Mercury retrograde. I think it starts around the 7th of July, but I can't remember what sign it's in. And that then could be a delay, but it could be a delay because that's what you're having to do, or that's what your potential partner is having to do, and you can't meet up until this move happens. So, but yeah, it's around the home. Let's get a few cards out on the middle one for clarification. Yeah, justice in reverse for this couple or these 2 people. Justice is in reverse because it's about creating a balance, fairness. The word justice is around fairness. So there's something out of balance or something that's not fair. And this is what's at the heart of the matter, to do with this person, to do with a relationship, or to do with this masculine energy. Because there's been some form of judgment going on as to why this imbalance, this relationship's out of balance. But there is going to be a rebirth. But this is the card before the world, which the world completes a cycle, completes a chapter in your life, in a relationship, or end of patterns. But the Justice card is imbalance or unfairness, or the facts haven't come to light. It's very much around the facts. And is it Pluto, this one? I think it's Pluto. It reminds me of Scorpio. And but we've got the Four of Swords, which is a bit like the Hangman. But he is happy, this chappie on here is happy to hang around regarding this relationship, because he does have a smile on his face. But it is reversed. I don't know what that's totally saying. And that's also what that card's saying. It's like, take a time out. Pause, don't struggle. I wonder if we could get a few more cards out on there. Of these type of ones. Might give us 3 more. Yeah, he's got the bed here. That's 2 people resting. Because this is somebody who, there's medicine, so somebody who's sick or poorly, not well. Whether that's him or her, you know, this can be somebody depressed. I was saying something about isolation, is the bacteria to depression earlier. We do have a lot of 5s, which is about restrictions, and we do have the healing card for joining, because there's been some anger in the home. We're talking about Cancer, the home, you know, and there is some sort of journey that's needing to be taken to bring this back into balance again. So let's see what the romance angels would like to say. Won't be able to do all the cards this time. Romance angels, most important message. I'm sure the messages that are here are the ones that are important for you for this next 6 months. And we got the we had that on, was it the new moon one? We had the reconciliation card. Someone from your past is returning to your life, which could be shown up as the Knight of Cups, somebody coming in to offer. Again, it's unfinished business, which this Judgment card, because it's the Karma card in the other one. So there's some sort of healing, or there will be over the next 6 months, and the purpose of that is for healing, because we do have the joining card. But remember those expectations. I can't do all my cards, can I? I do want to see quickly what the Akashic Records tarot card says in relation to this solar eclipse. Oh, I'm so glad I pulled the card. Number 7, fated meeting. So there's going to be a fated meeting. We've got, this is a bit like Cinderella. You've got your clock, midnight, and that. But I will read it, because I think it's better that I read what it says and then relate it to what the reading has said, rather than the other way around. It says the clock tower stands with its hands pointing to just a few minutes before 12. A man and woman approach each other, coming to meet at the time that was predetermined by their higher selves. And remember, there's a reconciliation here. Higher selves who are shown above them, translucent in the shining bit. So that's their higher self. So you could do some higher self work, talking to this person, and working on that level before this fated meeting will happen. But remember, it's over the next 6 months. With this card, you are coming to a very important relationship in your life. Either it is entirely new, or an existing relationship is being lifted to a much higher experience. Karma from past lives may have brought you together, so it's important for both of you to stay alert. Keep your individual and collective growth a priority, and act with difference and compassion to yourselves and each other. If you both honour your karmic course, this could be one of the highest relationships you can know. This card can also show a fated meeting with another about a work situation, a creative project, or an important purpose that you hold. This too is likely karmic. Perhaps it's a past life publisher, a spiritual teacher, a brother or a sister. Whoever this is, remember, because it's Cancerian, it's around the home, it's around family. It's a powerful and promising relationship. So get ready. It's almost time. So that's definitely going to be happening, and it's number 7. Within that 6-month cycle. So for some it could happen early, as in around July, and for others it might not come in towards the end of the year, which will be December. But this and the advice that's been given is how you're going to be navigating the situation, everything that's been said. Oh, we do have the soulmate card, but it's in protection. I do find these cards work very well together. It's 41, 4 and 1 is 5, so it's going back to that. So I wonder what that is saying in protection. So according to Colette Baron Reid, it's extra hug from the universe. So we'll just use the protection one. Where are you being dishonest with yourself or others? If you're unhappy in an area of your life, look for signs of denial. This can also pertain to others being misleading or withholding or acting from hidden agendas. Remember, if people are withholding information from you, you then have a certain perception, but if you had all the information, that perception would change, and you would then make a choice from that perception, from the information that's been given. So whereas you would have probably said yes, not knowing all the information, you say no and miss out on something, or you say yes to something that is wrong for you, but you didn't have all the information, and you end up getting hurt because of that. But that's out of your control. That's where you've got to trust your intuition. You're unhappy in any area of your life, look for signs of denial. This can also pertain to others misleading or withholding or acting from hidden agendas, which would be your Prince Charming in reverse. Now is the time to say no to dishonesty in all forms, because remember this reconciliation. Ask for the truth, even if you don't like what you hear, which was what was mentioned earlier. Acknowledging it will be key to a beautiful new future, because remember, you're crossing bridge, you need to keep an open heart, because then that finishes, and your fated beautiful relationship comes in. Even if you don't like what you hear, acknowledging it will be key to beautiful new future, where you no longer labour under the heavy burdens that deceit and denial impose on you. Set yourself free. Nothing less than truth is required now. Very good advice. And we'll just end with how the universe will have your back. I hope this information helps you. Well, you're going to need to surrender. I surrender to a power greater than me. So that's all about being awake, being alert. You are number 6, the masculine is 5, and you surrender to the power. But you need the experience, because you're going to be clearing something, and something beautiful is going to be coming in. So whether that reconciliation is to complete something and finish something up so you're free to meet somebody else, or that relationship's going to be healed. It's going to be different for everybody, but please do not try and label things. It'll only make you have detachment, and you will not be free to choose and get all the information you need. There we go. I do hope those messages help. Please like, share, please like, share and subscribe to my channel, and my website is the buttons below for readings or donations, and very much appreciated. Sending you lots of love. I'll be back here for the lunar eclipse, full moon. Lots of love. Namaste.